Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to share a interesting phone call I had a short while ago while I was in the middle of my workout. Somebody called me up and they told me that they wanted me to train them to shoot like John Wick. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure this guy may have been pulling my leg, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt and I basically continued the conversation with him. So I basically explained to this person that the stuff that you see in the movies, is not real world shooting. Okay, what you're seeing in the movies is a choreographed ballet that has been rehearsed for many days, maybe many weeks. So it's a ballet that also involves some shooting, or what appears to be shooting, because they're not even really using real guns with real ammunition. Okay, so this is the first thing I kind of put out to this person, and this person seemed like they were pretty intent on, yeah, that's fine, but that's what I wanted to do. Okay, so I said, well, I asked the guy how much training experience he had, and he says, yeah, he's done some shooting. He's got a couple of friends. Well, I said, okay, fine. I do private training. If you come out to me, what I will do is first I will have you just do some basic target shooting. Okay. I want to see how well you shoot. I want to see what your basic target shooting technique is, how you hold the gun, how you reload it, how safe you are handling it. So that's the first step. Okay. From there, if I'm satisfied or, when I need to make any adjustments, that's fine. That's part of the training. Once I'm comfortable with that, then I'll basically have you do some basic holster drills. Just coming out of the holster and present things safely, shooting, reholstering safely. Okay. From there, we can add some movement. With the gun in the holster, you move to a different position, draw fire, reholster, move to a different position. So, I'm explaining to this person how this would proceed, how it would progress. And then from there we could even add some rifle. Same deal with the rifle. First I want to watch you just shoot it, do some target shooting. Then we'll do some up drills. You come up, take the gun off safe, fire a couple of shots, put the gun back on safe, come back down. Maybe we'll do some magazine changes. This person seemed like they really wanted to move ahead, a lot faster from what I wanted them to do. So I'm kind of explaining to them that, and these are analogies that I use very frequently when I'm training people, because although I don't know if this person was serious or not, but I have had other people who have, come to see me in person, and I have trained. And, I kind of have to give them basically all they know about shooting is what they've seen in the movies. So I have to give them a real life comparison. Basically what I tell them is that, day one of shooting is like driver's ed day one. I'm just showing you what where the brake pedals are, the gas, the gears, what they do, what the turn signals do, what the signs in the road mean. So that's what your first day of shooting. It's driver's ed day one. Okay, and basically there's a lot of classes that you got to take just to build up the skill to be able to handle a gun on your own without my supervision. Okay, and of course that would also include the holster drills. So I have to see a person. Several times, because a lot of times what happens when I train somebody, it's very typical for them to forget what I just, like they won't forget it right then and there, but a week later they will forget what they have learned, because typically people only, the first time they've been trained, they only retain maybe about 20% of that information. The second and third time that I see them and we're going over the same basic stuff, they'll start retaining a higher percentage. So by the time I've seen them 3 or 4 times, now they're retaining about 80%. Okay, so that's just to get through the basics of learning how to shoot a gun and being able to draw from a holster safely, or being able to bring up a rifle, present it, shoot it safely. Okay, now from there, okay, I'm explaining to the person. Well, the next step is that we start working on isolated drills. Okay. Now, and I'm explaining to them, tactical training is kind of like working out, with the weights here, okay? When we work out with weights, we break up the body into, we train our legs, we train our chest, our back, biceps, triceps, abs, shoulders. And then what happens is, we train the body in isolation, okay? And then when we go out to do a real world, activity, right? All that comes together, okay? And this has been proven over the last 50 or 60 years. This is the way that all high-level athletes train. They all train with the weights, regardless of whether they're baseball players, basketball players, football players, swimmers. They all train with weights. Now, the reps and sets might be a little bit different, but they're all training with weights, and they're all more or less doing the same exercise, okay? Because the body only moves so many ways. There's only so many muscles in your body. So that's how athletes train. And basically, so the point is that you train all these different muscles in isolation, and then when you go out to do your activity, the strength is there. Well, the gun training is the same thing, okay? All the drills, okay, basically they're all done in isolation. And I got something like 300 videos posted with tons of drills out there. And in reality, it's not likely that in real life you would ever shoot the way that you shoot in a drill exactly. But what happens is if you do a lot of drills, bits and pieces of that, can be applied to a real life, situation. So that's what tactical training is. We're breaking down, we're breaking down the training into small drills, basically isolated exercises. And we do them repetitively to build up basically a muscle memory, so that we can do it without having to think about it a lot. And that's kind of the key to being effective, with a pistol or a rifle. Your brain can only think about so many things at one time. So the more things we can kind of put on autopilot, basically what that does is it frees up our brain to be able to focus on other things. So for example, if we do holster drills so many times that we can come out of the holster, present, and be able to reholster safely, right, without having to think about it. Well, now that frees up our brain so that we can be more observant, for example, or we can think about, moving to cover, or thinking about, well, what do I need to do next? Do I need, calling 911, calling a lawyer, all these things. So that's the purpose of the tactical training. It's to, we're training in isolation, and we're building up a muscle memory that we can then fall back to, right? We can basically, when the time comes, we can say, okay, this is, your brain's going to recognize a current situation that is similar to a drill that you've done, and basically you'll be able to adjust to it faster with less thinking, and by you thinking less about what you're doing at that moment, your brain is free to think about what's actually happening out there. So these are the things I kind of explained to this person, and I thought it was an interesting conversation, even though there's a good chance that this person was kind of pulling my leg. But it is a conversation that I have had with other people who basically are in fact interested in training and have in fact trained with me, and this is kind of how I present the concept of training to